Hi everybody, this is Miss Nancy and I have my son Soren with me here today.
Hi.
We're talking about some early education math concepts. One of the things you can do when you're learning your numbers, other than learning the figures of a number that are drawn figures, is learn how a number looks in different ways. I'll explain what I mean. For instance, you can think of your hands. Okay, that's an easy example because everybody has them. And usually you have 5 fingers on one hand and 5 fingers on your other hand. So you can use the concept to teach how to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And also when you see one hand, you'll know that that means 5. And then when you learn to count by 5, you can say 5, 10, or 5, 10. You see the point, and so on. So when we're teaching math to youngsters, a lot of times we'll start to have them identify how many fingers, 2, and they can do it quickly, 2. Same thing goes for 4. Without the thumb, 4. And so you can count 4 and 2, and eventually you can say 6 by just looking at that very briefly and not having to count each one. So that's the concept we're thinking about. Another way you can practice this is with dice. Have your children get out the dice and count the dots, but then they'll be able to identify what 3 dots on the dice signifies. That signifies the number 3, and they won't have to count it after a while. They'll just see it and identify it. So the concept can also be used with you want to hold that, Soren? Mm-hmm. Something called a 10 frame. So I used an egg carton and I cut 2 of the holes out of them, 2 of the little spaces out. So now it has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So you count with your child at the level we're working with in preschool. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on one side and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the next side. And you also show them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they learn to identify that there are 5 on one side, 5 on the next side, and together with that 10 frame, you have 10. So you can use any kind of egg crate carton you'd like to use. And what I've used with is you can put little objects in there to help them. I'll show you what I mean. So I get out, for instance, a little ball, and Soren's going to put one in his. And that is, we have 1 ball in our 10 frame. And then we get another ball, and just put 2, maybe put 2 like that. You can show them that that means 2 or that means 2. Now, if I am putting some in here, I want him to make his look like mine. So you can say to your child, make your 10 frame look like my 10 frame. And then I'll say, put 1 ball in the top and another ball in the next one. And then get another ball, put it in the next one. And how many do I have? I have 3 balls in my 10 frame. And you can look at this for a while. And you can even turn it and say, now how many balls do I have in my 10 frame? And how many would you say? 3. I still have 3, even though it looks different. It looks like this, or it looks like this, but it's still 3 inside of my 10 frame. So go ahead and fast forward with your child and fill up 1 whole side with balls. You can use little ping pong balls or whatever kind of balls you have, objects that you have. And you can say, how many do I have when one side of my 10 frame is full? And then we can count them together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then your child can identify right away if 1 whole side of my 10 frame is full, that means I have 5. Just like if I have all of my fingers counted on one hand, that's always 5. One side of the 10 frame is always 5. So let's fill in the rest of our 10 frames. And Now you show them your 10 frame when it is all full. And Soren, can you count the balls when it's all full?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
10, very good. So then you can turn your frame like this and say, how many do you think I have filled up in my 10 frame if I turn it? And what would the answer be?
10.
You still have 10, okay? When a 10 frame is all full, that means 10, okay? What if I take, Soren, what if I take one ball out of my 10 frame and it looks like this with one empty? How many balls do I have?
9.
Then I have 9. 10 take away 1 is 9, and it can look like this. What if I took this out, Soren? I have 2 missing from my 10 frame. How many balls would I have then?
8.
Then I would have 8. 8 can look like this, or 8 can look like this when I have the balls arranged. Another way we can look at 8 and remember what 8 looks like is to have the 2 missing at the top. And that also means 8. Okay? So that's just a fun way, and your child can play with these. You don't have to worry about them hurting these toys. They can look at them. They can also skip spaces and see how many balls they would have and what that would look like, and count those balls. 2, 4, 6. You can practice counting with them by 2s when they're using their 10 frames. But what you're shooting for is them to quickly identify what number this represents. This represents 5, okay? And then practice with other numbers. This represents 5 plus 1, which means 6. So that's a little introduction to 10 frames in early education math. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye.